Let's get to the 2024 class. Kansas has
Sure.
2 commits, Red Martell, and then at way too early this morning, 7 a.m., I was making coffee and it came through. Isaiah Marshall commits to Kansas. We talked about the Detroit pipeline with Jameel Croft, and this is another player from Detroit. He plays at Southfield, which is a quality high school team. He has some talent on his team as well. You just another one, like, look at the offer list. I'm going to pull it up here next to me, but Kentucky, Louisville, Michigan, Ole Miss, West Virginia. Like, he has several Power 5 offers, and the 89 rating from the 24/7 sports staff is the same as Jameel Croft, and it's the highest 24/7 sports rating Kansas has had since Devin Neal. So I look at this and I say it's huge. Quarterbacks are the most important recruit to get in your class, bar none. Offensive linemen, wide receivers, it doesn't matter. You have to have a quarterback. And I think this is so huge for Kansas to have a quarterback committed on February 2nd, where for the next 10 months, you've got the face of this recruiting class out there recruiting other guys. And you talk to Isaiah, he's a very personable guy. Like, he will be out there recruiting. I feel confident in saying that. And so I think overall, it's just a huge addition. The timing of it is huge. What do you think about it, Kevin? What were your thoughts when you saw it come through this morning?
Yeah, for those who don't know, the grading scale, I guess, for 24/7, a 90 is sort of the bottom tier for a 4-star. That's the
Mm-hmm.
bottom part of a 4-star ranking. So when we say that Croft or Marshall are 89s, they're a skip and a jump away from a 4-star ranking. But I think you hit the nail on the head, and I think even beyond that, it's huge for the recruiting class to have him in the boat, because he's going to be not just a guy that's going to recruit himself, but a guy that they can recruit off of too.
Mm.
Now, when you call a wide receiver, you can say, "Hey, have you watched our quarterback? Have you seen the guy who's going to be throwing you passes?" And when you look at that Isaiah Marshall tape, it's pretty fun. And I think he's a guy that brings a lot of things that the KU staff is really going to like. He can make plays off schedule, but that's not who he is. He operates from the pocket. He sees plays play out. He has good pocket presence. He's very smart. He doesn't have just an absolute howitzer for an arm, but he's a guy that when he steps into the ball, he can generate some RPMs. He has a few throws on that tape where you look at it and you say, okay, he put a little extra mustard
Mm.
on that ball. But just having that guy in the class, and specifically too, and I know you and I talked about this. Kansas had a quarterback in the 2023 class, and Kansas it was a guy that they thought was maybe going to take a little bit of time to develop, but he wound up going elsewhere. And when you look at that, I feel like that just made it that much more important to not just get a quarterback in 2024, but get the quarterback in 2024. The guy that you're going to look at, he's going to come in and people are going to say, that's a future starter at Kansas one day. I think they got that in Isaiah Marshall. What do you think?
I agree. I agree. It's uncanny how similar he looks to Jalen Daniels. And again, like, you don't want to put that type of pressure on guys that, hey, you got to be the next Jalen Daniels, but he looks like it. Jalen's 6', 215.
Yep.
Isaiah's a high school senior or junior, going to be senior, who's 6', 200. And I think you look at the dual threat ability, he's got kind of that thicker build where he can take some hits. He can spin the ball, right? I think you mentioned the RPM at times. And I just look at him overall and I say the offense you saw from Kansas during the 2022 football season when Jalen Daniels was healthy is the same exact offense you can run with Isaiah Marshall as your quarterback. And you look at the stats, I pulled them up here. He had 2,500 passing yards and 27 passing touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, right? How big was
Huge.
that with the other guy that he had more interceptions than touchdowns? He's got about a 4 or 5 to 1 ratio. Seems pretty good. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but seems pretty good. But he also rushed for 1,000 yards and had 20 rushing touchdowns. Like, it's just legit. It's legit production for a legit high school in a legit area of the country. And it just doesn't get much better than that. And now you look at KU's high school class in 2024, it took them until May of last year to get a single commit in their high
Yep.
school class. They have 2 in February. And Red Martell from Oklahoma, who has got about an 87 rating, and then now Isaiah Marshall. And so you just build from here. And KU already has the momentum from last season. They've already got the momentum because they're showing these kids, hey, we're putting the money in the football facility. We're putting the money into the stadium. When you show up here in the fall of 2024, this stadium and this facility will look worlds different than what you see right now. And so now it's just time to capitalize it on the recruiting trail. And I think, Kevin, I've had concerns about recruiting. I have, just because
Yeah.
of the way the high school stuff went in 2022 and how it started off in 2023. I think as time has gone on, I've got a little bit more bullish on it, where it's like, okay, they're adding guys, right? They're not taking guys with barely any Power 5 offers. They're not taking guys that they're not really having to beat people for. Like, they beat people for Isaiah Marshall. He visited Louisville early this month under Jeff Brom. Like, they are beating guys now. And so I think recruiting wise, it's a pretty good time. And now it's just time for them to capitalize and keep it going.